and we can start to rank some things. Now, you don't have to draw this out because but you can take a quick picture of it if you want. But on the next page, we're going to start to score these. I just wanted to show you how it plays together, right? And the way it plays together is this level is really, really good. That's like running exactly how we expected. And this level number 1 is really not great. We are not feeling good, and everywhere in between. And when we go to rate it, which we're going to go here next and rate it, you could imagine if this was a wheel and somebody type in for me, wealth and finance, 10, financial security, 1, broke off your ass, don't even know you're like not feeling wealthy. Put in some numbers, and there's no judgment here. We're not impressed if you're a 10 or okay, 4, 7, 8, 5. Okay, 1. Okay, thanks for your honesty, right? You're in all different realms. Well, if we look at the scoring when we're done at all these different realms, we just want to ask ourselves after we do this, like, how will this wheel go? Now, I've done a lot of Wheel of Life, a lot of them throughout my years, for many, many years. And I feel we created one that is very, very helpful. And I'll tell you why, because I think there's more than just wealth. I think people think, and Aaron, thank you so much. Everybody say thank you, Aaron, in the chat bar. He's typing everything for you guys there. I think you tell me there's a difference between wealth and finance, right? Wealth is financial security, and finance is dealing with paying bills and paying for things. There's a big difference here. There's a difference between career and work. There's a difference between health and fitness. So I want you to know that there's 2 ways to do the wheel. You could global bucket it. You could say growth and learning are one and the same, or you could turn around and do this, okay? You could say, I'm going to split this rate in half, and I'm going to say, well, my growth is a 6, but my learning is a 2, okay? So you could do this a lot of different ways to dial in on this a little more. That's what I always thought was missing about other people's Wheel of Life. It was such a big bucket. I felt like it was not true enough. It wasn't clear enough for me. If that makes sense, can you type in make sense? Do you agree? Like it was just like there's love, but then there's partner. There's a difference between loving kids and loving a partner. There really is. I don't think that's the same love. I mean, my kids, when they were little, I slept with them to go to bed, but I don't sleep with my kids. I sleep with my wife, right? So very different between partner and love. Okay. Now it's time to start to work on, let's start putting this assessment together. Okay. Let's put it together. And the way we put this together, and if this flow, is this flow making sense for you, how we break it down? If you love it, type in love it in the chat bar. Do you see how it breaks it down? Because if I just went here, Kim, where we're at now, you would get value without understanding. And that's one of my pet peeves is I would go to trainings and classes from people and I would get value with no understanding under the hood. All I got to see was the outside of the car. But really what makes it impactful and work is understanding how the engine functions, right? The superconscious, the unconscious, subconscious force program, right? That's the engine that makes it work. Otherwise, it's very surface level, okay? So if we look at this, the way this is going to break out is like this. First, you'll rank it. So if we say wealth and finance, I want you to take an average of this because we can only go so deep tonight, and maybe you're an 8. And then you're going to go, who I was, okay, who I was in the past was maybe poverty. Who I am today is a reflection between these two, right? Who I was, who I am today, and maybe I'm, slightly abundant. Slightly abundant. You know what that means? Slightly abundant is I don't have a lot of debt and I make a little bit of money. Slightly abundant. Okay. Then the next question, and feel free to work through this on the chat bar or write this on a piece of paper. And we'll give you this worksheet later. You could go back, watch the training, go deeper. I would tell you if your partner relationship's not here, go through this training, print these out, do it together, do it with your kids. Okay. So I know who I was, who I am today, who do I need to be? I was just sharing with someone today. Oh, they might be on here. No, it doesn't matter who it was. I said, here's the thing. When you're a business, when you start a business, you're first called like an operator. You're like the, right, Dave Monk? It's like, you're the guy who does the stuff, right? You program, you're the thing. And then your next thing you want to become is you want to become an owner. You want to start behaving like an owner, like you want to hire good, manage people, you want to make the system. And then the next thing you want to become is what? See, everybody act like you got to work on your business, not in your business. They made that sound like that was the finish line. No, no, no. Being a wealth creator or a wealth investor, that's the leap you're trying to go to. That's the leap. So if that was this here in wealth, who do I need to be? I need to be a wealth investor. A wealth investor. That's who I need to be. All of you that have a career, you're a wealth investor because your career is moving you to wealth. If you own a business, you want to become a wealth investor because that business is part of your future wealth. And then this last part is where we got to go deep inside. This is where the super conscious for you, the super conscious can start to settle in and help you. You ask yourself, what's the shift that needs to happen now to make me this wealth investor? What's the shift? Maybe it's I have to believe, right? Or I have to grow. The shift that needs to happen is I got to learn, right? I have to learn how to do this. What is that has to happen? So let's work through these together. I'll walk through, I'll give you some examples, but I want you to write it down. So even if you just like draw a straight line and do it, let's just do some work together. And then maybe if time allows, I'll open it up for like, if you have a question or you're stuck, like just put in question mark and I'll let you unmute. So that's wealth and finance, right? Money. Let's just call it money, right? The next one is career and work. Where do you rank yourself on career and work right now? Like 10, I love it. I live it. I breathe it. When I'm not there, I'm still doing it. And 1, I can't stand what I'm doing. I don't like doing it. I wish I could get out of it. Where? Rank yourself for it. Be transparent with all of us here. Where are you at? Dwayne, 10. I knew you were, Dwayne, when I showed up this morning. Well, I didn't physically show up there. I virtually showed up there. All right, Kim, 8. Hans, 7. Moan, 9. Antonio, 5. Okay. All right. Well, now you have a baseline. You have a baseline here for your career and work. So we'll say there's a 6. Well, who was I? I was somebody trying to learn a trade. I was confused. I had to pick something, right? Who am I today? I like it. I don't love it. It's stressful. I'm making these up. Well, who do I need to be? Well, I need to be superhuman, right? I mean, I need to change my insight. I need to change my habits. I need to change my patterns. I need to change the way I think about my career. I need to change the way I show up. People say, oh, I work with people, they're not good. I said, how do you show up? I'm pretty sure in a shitty culture, you're not showing up amazing. Do you know how you change a crappy culture? You show up amazing. I could always tell you that the culture is an average of the owner's behaviors. I know I always have a lot of business owners here. You know, it's the same thing for any of it. Like, it's the average of your own behavior and how you show up. I know that stings a little bit sometimes, but what needs to happen? One of you type in the chat bar, what needs to happen today for you to move your career, your work, what you do to a level that I always tell you, here's how you know that you're a level 10. First off, you don't need an alarm clock because your body wakes you up because it's so excited. The minute you awake, feet are on the ground, arms are in the air. Like you're one of those, those people that do the gymnastic where they're like, boom. Like that's like the morning, your eyes open up, you're like, I'm up. That's it. Let's go. That's how you know you're level 10 and you love what you're doing. How do you know you're a 5? You know, the one eye opens up, you're like, I can't believe I got to get up now. Well, now it's like pick up the cell phone and try finding the button or whatever you do. That's a 5. How do you know you dislike it all the way in your 1? You don't even set the alarm clock. You're like, I don't even know if I want to wake up tomorrow. Right? But the goal is, if you're living a 6, any one of these, okay, is going to create the average of all of these. Let me make a little picture for you. And don't worry, this finger is really messed up. So don't think I'm trying to do that intentionally. It's just got like, it's got issues. It's got to get cut and stuff. It's got issues. But imagine, which might work for this exercise, this thing good. Imagine this is like, you know, my grandmother used to make one of those, what do they call it? Like the knitting the blanket or whatever, like quilting. Okay. So you have a quilt. And when you have a quilt, and Alex, you pull down on one thread of the quilt, what happens with all of them? Type in the chat bar. What happens with all the quilt? Starts to all pull down, doesn't it? The rest start to pull. When you pull up on the quilt, what happens? They all start to pull up too. They start to pull up. So if you look at pulling down on a bunch of quilts that are a 5 and you have some that are a 10, you're going to pull it to a point that it's an average, until eventually some pull it down, and then you got to try to recover on it. So what is the shift? And one of you tell me, implement consistent systems, change the habits, right? Change my habits. How do you change habits? You change the habits until they become patterns, right? Enough habits become patterns. Patterns will create a new reality. All right, let's go to health and fitness. You tell me, some of you, where are you at on your health and fitness? 10, feel good, look good, energy, not fatigued, 8.5 or 8. Okay, 8. 2, as I eat dinner at 9 p.m. Okay, thanks for your honesty. -1, 7. Okay, so this here, we'll go with a 4 for someone. Who I was years ago. If you look back and just answer and let your inner voice go, who I was, well, you know, McDonald's, fast food, never planned, right? I mean, this is like what my life was many, many years ago. There's no planning. Man, me and my wife eating a whole lot of Hot Pockets in our day years ago. We, you know, which were pretty good. Elio's Pizza, anybody do that? Type in, yeah. Did you ever eat some? I'm thinking of it right now. Until we moved to the French bread pizzas. They were dynamic until we moved to the Hamburger Helper and tried that. But that's who I was. Well, who I am now. Well, who you are now is maybe conscious. But you might be conscious doing a lot of the wrong things. Maybe you're conscious thinking, I have to eat this way, do this thing, keto that, Weight Watchers this, vitamin that. Well, who do I need to be today? Maybe educated. Maybe educated. Maybe you need to understand energy. You know, every single one of these, the mind will create your outcome. Your rating is created by your mind. How? It's not a food problem. It's a mind problem. Most things are. It's not a relationship problem. It's a mind problem of how you think about relationships. And you guys tell me, somebody type in like, what's the shift that you have to do today? What's the shift? I'll tell you what, today, most people, and you've probably heard it, me telling it, you know what? If you want to shift any area of your life, you are going to have to shift not only how you think about that level, you're going to have to shift all different decisions, but not by force, by making a new conscious decision, Like, I'm going to start to be this way. I'm going to start to act this way. I'm going to start this. Now, look, experts know certain things, right? We've learned a whole lot, me and my wife, about what to do, what not to do. Tons of stuff. All right, let's go to fun and recreation. You know what fun and recreation is, don't you? It's like do the things you want. It's the parties, it's the picnics, it's probably the traveling. How do you rate your fun and recreation? Sometimes I see people, they're at a 10, and I look at everything else. Their wealth is down, their relationships down. I'm like, you're having a lot of fun, but at the consequence of maybe destroying everything else. 7.5 is everything's a 0.5. Okay, 7, 5, 6. All right, 7. Well, same thing. Who are you right here? Who you were, who you are, who you need to be in the shift. For you to have more fun today, who do you need to be? What's the shift that needs to happen? Type in one shift for you to have more fun. What is it? Beach more often. Well, that's where we live. That's where me and my wife live. Read a fiction book. What else? Switch off from business. Yeah, like, gotta have a little fun. Get up earlier and free up time later in the day. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. We're making great progress here. So place and sacred place. Okay. So place and sacred place, I want you to think about like this is your home. Sacred place is a place that you go where you feel serenity, you feel alive. Some people, their house is their place, and their sacred place might be a meditation area or a place in the woods or the lake or the river. So let's just do a summary. If you look at the place as home, well, how do you rank that environment there? 1 to 7. You go in your house, it feels good, it feels clean. My wife and I are constantly on a quest for minimalism. Anybody else like just simple, clean, easy, no chaos, right? And then who were you? Well, you know, like, how was this environment? You know, do you have motivate? Like, I'm looking at Bruce Lee. I got Bruce Lee over there. I got Buddha over there. I got pictures of me and my wife over there. I got samurai swords. Like, I got other things here. I got the lion that came to hang out with you guys, right? Live in a suitcase for 4 years. Okay, that's pretty minimalist, right? If there's a place inside your place, your home, your sacred place that you know, I need to make a shift today, what's the shift you have to make? Tell me. What's the shift you have to make? Do you have to be a minimalist? Do you have to get rid of some stuff? Do you have to add some things? Do you have to decorate it? Do you have to put motivational quotes to your house? Clutter, okay, got to remove it, right? You got to do that system that my wife loves, and I think it's human pain. Right? This Kondo method, where one day we got 9 billion socks all over the place. And it's like, it's human torture. Yeah, get rid of stuff. Yeah, if you want to do it, look up what my wife typed in there. It's brutal. It's the most painful process I ever seen in my life. But in the end, I feel good, but I think I lose years off my life going through it, right? I'd rather just move into a new house than even do the process, right? Carpet the office. Yeah. Because see, the whole thing about sacred place is you act the way you, and you write this down, you will live at the way you feel in your environment. You'll act and live the way you feel. If you have an area that doesn't feel good, you will be dragged down by energy. How do I know? Anytime you finished a room, finished a basement, redid a bathroom, how did it feel? Type in the chat bar. What's the last area in your home you redid and how did it feel? I bet for a bathroom, for months, you walked in there just to see how the bathroom looks, because the energy felt so good because it was so clean and so you and so, right? The garage, right? How's it feel? Organized. You go out there and you're like, you can't wait to go to the garage. You hate being in the kitchen because there's dishes and chaos, but the garage has the shelving system.